Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Crime Centric. This being a show where we talk about crime dramas that I watch. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of The Enemy Within. So a lot of interesting things in this episode. It's kind of interesting because it does seem like the overarching thing about this is like every chance he's getting, Tall is basically sending people to wipe out other CIA people. In this particular case, it's this dude, Dean, who is actually someone that worked under Erica. Turns out, like, even though he wasn't with the agency anymore, he was still investigating. He was, basically he was looking into Tall on his own. What's interesting is there was a page in amongst all his notes and stuff that Erica took. I guess maybe it was something specifically, like if anything were to happen, it needed to be Erica who looked at it specifically. And I think, because, and I think there's going to be something we definitely see is because Erica is very well trained because of the CIA and stuff like that. I think she's kind of really taught not to really trust people. It's kind of like the only person she probably feels like she can really rely on is herself, because just the way things have kind of been going down lately, I think even for her, it's like, there are operatives all over the place who've been living and, pretending to be, non-operatives this entire time. So it's like, you can't trust anyone. That's even something she tried to get across to Will. It's actually kind of interesting because like Will and her have a very different opinion about it, because obviously she was having that whole conversation earlier to Kate about like, oh no, you need to not focus on the victims. Like basically you caring too much is going to focus you away from what you need to be focused on, because you're trying to be all sympathetic of like, solving Dean's murder and understanding like, trying to get justice for him, when you need to be focused on why it happened, why they particularly chose him. It's actually kind of sad and messed up at the beginning. You could see the lady who had the kid and everything, one of the dudes that went through with the killing and stuff like that, which they did that nonchalantly, like train full of people, you were brandishing a gun around like that. It's like, man. But I guess that's just kind of like they, believe in this. Once again, these are probably a lot of people deep in this situation, because that's what I was curious to, like, why does Anna do what she's doing? Is it because she believes in this, or is like Tall got something on her? I think it is simply like, no, they were implanted in this. Like I made a comparison to The Americans last time, the TV show. I think it's just that situation of you probably grew, like you were probably raised to be this soldier in this fight, and it's like you were told that you're going to go undercover and live this life, but when the time comes, you're going to be a wolf in sheep's clothing, essentially. So I think she is just simply someone who does believe in the cause and all of that. But same thing for those dudes. But you can see that lady at the end of the intro being like, holy crap, that dude literally just helped me out with my bag and my baby up the escalator. He seemed like such a nice dude, and it's like, nope. So that was a kind of real kick in the teeth in that regard. Well, not unless that was a different dude. Was it? I don't know. I'm stupid. Because I was pretty sure it was the same dude, because especially because they made such a point to focus on the lady being like, holy crap. Now I'm second guessing myself, and once I start second guessing myself, I get a little crazy. I'm like, I don't know. Nevertheless, we do have Erica working with the FBI. Initially, she wasn't going to until like, no, promise me you'll take care of Hannah. It's actually kind of interesting. I think I might have talked about this in the first episode, but it's like, even in this episode, knowing the reason why she did what she did, Erica seems still so kind of like, she's like her smirks and stuff. It's like, could you make yourself look a little less evil? Like, what's up with that? But I guess I think for her, it's interesting because I think she's playing this bad guy role, because it's like, if she doesn't, I think for her it's like being this person, being this treasonous traitor and stuff like that, and just kind of being like she's in control, is because I think legitimately it might be the only thing keeping her from kind of spiraling out of control. I think it might be part of her CIA training, to compartmentalize and stuff like that. Like I said, that conversation earlier about the difference of opinion, because like Will was kind of like, no, we're all about getting justice for people. That's how the CIA works. That's how you guys believe, but that's not how we work on things. We care about the victims and care about their families and stuff like that, and get justice for them. So, but like in the CIA, I'm sure it's all about kind of lying and deceiving those around you and stuff like that. So it's all about, like I said, compartmentalizing. It's interesting because that dude Cabrera is like a deputy at CIA. I'm assuming that's suggesting he's the dude that took Erica's job like 3 years ago, potentially, or at least some point down the line. What's really interesting is it's the actor. I was just staring at his name earlier. It's going to bother the crap out of me. Someone had pointed this out, because obviously this same actor, he popped up in this season of The Gifted. And they pointed out the fact is, it's like, oh yeah, like him and Amy Acker are married. I was like, oh man, that's so cool. I don't dive too deeply into actors' lives and stuff like that. So it's always interesting when stuff like that comes up, and I'm like, oh, because I typically just randomly find out about stuff like that. Nevertheless, that's me going on a tangent. I just thought it was kind of interesting. But it's really interesting. The fact is, he really hates Erica. To be fair, he's CIA, and the fact is, they lost, some people because of what Erica did. I'm curious, we only heard a fraction of what he said to Erica, essentially being like, oh, like, you might have them fooled, but you don't have me fooled. I know we can't trust you and stuff like that. But for him, because, for him, he worked with Erica, in that time frame too. And so for him, it's like, I put my life in that woman's hands, and just look at all those people that died because of her and everything. So he's not a big fan of her. It's like, I can't stop you from working with her. But what was interesting, he was about to go, but Anna, you're not going to talk to them. And and Anna was like, no, let me help, because she was freaking out, because it's like her whole plan is to get close to this team. That was the whole point. To the point, like, she kept reporting to everyone. It's like, oh, told that dude when he was found out. I also love how Erica ended up saving Will's life. She literally wrapped the chain around his neck to pull him back over the table to avoid the shots and stuff like that. He never called her out for it, because obviously it's kind of like, okay, you saved my life, so there's that. So that was interesting. But also, like, Anna ended up, I guess she got orders to kill Nemec, because he had talked a little bit, because obviously Daniel had let it slip on. Oh, like, the fact is, we're getting somewhere. Essentially, he made it go, like, basically, he kind of showed a little weakness of basically being like, oh, wait, I could get visitation. Like, it's someone he wanted to make sure he was able to get visits from. And when, Anna kind of asked him, did you say anything? He's like, no, absolutely not. And she's like, good. And ended up killing him, strangling him, in fact. I was like, that's pretty brutal. It's also interesting. I mean, I guess maybe I'm overthinking. Kind of like, wouldn't it look a little suspicious because you tied that tie from the outside? I mean, I guess it would make sense, but it's like, would you want to know, like, how he got that? I guess, like, the argument could be, well, I guess she snuck his shoestrings in there, and it's going to be like, oh no, he secretly had them on him or something like that. I don't think that was even shoestrings she strangled him with, was it? Because it's like, how do you excuse that? Like, I mean, obviously she messed with the security tape, so no one's going to know it was her, but stuff like that. But it's still kind of like, it's actually kind of interesting because, like, they still haven't officially kind of met eye to eye, like Anna and, Erica, just because, like, you see Anna kind of keeping an eye on Erica, but I guess it's because, like, I guess that's what this is all about, because, like, I'm sure Fertal is going to be like, oh, like, basically burn everything down, and the last person he's probably going to kill, because he got what he wanted. He made, essentially made Erica's life a living hell. It's like, I feel like he probably could have gotten to her, but this way she's out. Well, it's like, I think for him it works out that she's part of this investigation. Hell, who knows? That might be what he wanted, because he wants her to try and take her shot at him, and then he's going to burn everything around, and I think, like, she's going to be the last person he kills, type of thing. We kind of ended up finding out his motivation behind all this too, because basically his brother ended up getting killed in an airstrike, so that's what this is all about for him. This is revenge, but he's completing his revenge on a massive scale with a lot of, like, spies hidden all throughout the place. It's crazy to think that he's running such a large scale operation. But to be fair, it's like the show is kind of saying, like, he's like one of the biggest terrorist people out there, so it shouldn't be too much of a surprise that he has such reach and power. What's really interesting is, like, obviously going back to Dean's situation, he had that lady Beverly kind of housing all the, like, information, because he had it all in one place, all the information he had about Tall, but the others ended up tracking it down and ultimately ended up getting destroyed. But it also, this is all connected to some mountain range in Cuba in some shape or form. What that has to do with anything, I don't know, but it was something that he had Dean had Beverly look into. But once again, there's also, like, whatever it was that Erica tore out the book. I guess once again, going back to what I was saying earlier, you can't let anyone know because she doesn't know who to trust. She made the point to tell Will, as like, oh, you shouldn't trust me, but you also shouldn't trust anyone, because trusting anyone is going to get you killed. Like, even, obviously referring to anyone in the FBI, even anyone on your team, so. Because you also have to think about it too, like, Tall probably got to Erica and all that. Like, I feel like to know about Hannah and everything, it makes you go, he had to have someone close to Erica. And maybe that's what her whole deal is too. Maybe it's not just about finding Tall, it's about whoever, like finding the person that was close enough to her so that Tall could get to them, to get to Erica, you know? Or to get to Hannah, to get to Erica. That's what I'm thinking, but maybe that's not the case. It's just kind of interesting because he did get her cell phone. I guess like you get hackers and stuff like that, but it's just like, I don't know, was it really just because she was so close to figuring your whole operation out? Maybe that was it, you know? Because once again, it's like the easiest thing would have just been able to kill her, but I guess like by discrediting her, like everything she discovered kind of gets buried because it's like, oh, she's looked as a traitor, so no one's going to listen to a thing she has to say. And I guess if you did kill her, she'd be kind of like a martyr, and then like in his eyes, she'd probably be like a martyr, just recognized hero, and there'd be someone else to kind of pick up the mantle afterwards. But if you destroy her lineage, her legacy, her reputation, that leaves her with nothing. She's just, you know, it puts her essentially on the same playing field as you. Like I said, that's all just me thinking of that, though. The real kind of sad aspect to this was, like, you know, the meeting between Hannah and Erica. And I will not lie to you, because it kind of shocked me last episode. I don't think I talked about it. It was kind of like she was so okay. Like, she was just kind of drowned with emotions. And Erica was just kind of like, I love you too, to her mom. Like, they didn't really get to sit down and talk. But I was like, oh, I'm kind of impressed that you were just like, oh, you're not super pissed. You didn't try to run away or anything like that. But then lo and behold, what ends up happening, it's like, oh, it seems like it's a casual conversation. She's kind of happy to see her mom and everything, because it's like, to be fair, it's like the initial, oh my god, I haven't seen you in 3 years, like, oh my god, let's catch up type of situation. But I thought it was kind of interesting every time it was, because at first I was like, oh, it's a conversation, is it about every time like Hannah brings up her dad that, you know, Erica wants to change the subject? It's like, no, every time Hannah brings up the whole like, oh, you're cooperating with the FBI, right? Is that what this is all about? She changes the subject because I guess she didn't want to get Hannah's hopes up too much, because, you know, the last thing she wants is probably word spreading out there about what she's up to, even though, you know, Tall already knows about that. So now I'm sitting here thinking about the whole Anna situation. It's like, he didn't know about that being an angle that they would probably go down. Now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, but now he knows because of Anna and all that. So I kind of retract what I was saying earlier about him potentially knowing and setting all this in motion and like that. You know, so he's probably only first hearing about it now because of Erica. Not Erica, but Anna. Not unless he has other people kind of tapping him into that information. But nevertheless, but getting back to it, I think like Erica doesn't want, you know, Hannah to know about that, because then like other people would eventually find out, was kind of my whole point, and that would kind of put a target on Hannah's back and put a target on their backs again and stuff like that. Because even like Hannah's like, tell me why you did it, you know? It's kind of like, you just did this terrible thing. Because I think for her, it's like, if she finds out, okay, my mom did this terrible thing, but if she's cooperating with the FBI, that means she's trying to make up the past and stuff like that. So there's some good in my mom, but like, it's like, you won't tell me what you're doing here and why you did it. And she leaves even before the 15 minutes are up, which is such a shame, because it's like Erica did everything for Hannah. At the very least, that's where everything's pointing. But obviously, the whole narrative is trying to point to her being like, no, she's not that good of a person. But to be fair, once again, Will is the only person who knows the truth about the whole Hannah situation, because Erica probably couldn't take the chance that if anyone else found, you know, once again, she couldn't have that become public knowledge and let Hannah find out about that. I mean, especially in this case too, that's why she continues not to tell her, because I don't want you to feel the weight of what choice I had to make. It was my choice. I'm the one who have to live with it. You shouldn't have to live with my choice. Even though it was meant to protect you, that was still my choice to make, not yours. That choice was made for you, you know? So she's not trying to give her daughter that heavy burden to bear, carry. And you know, it kind of, you know, it affects Will, because even, you know, Will sees the way Hannah's kind of heartbroken and everything, knowing why, you know, Erica did what she did, you know. So, but even I was kind of picking up on it. Erica kept being like, oh yeah, I had almost forgot about it. She's like, you know, it's kind of cold, you know, where they, you know, in jail and stuff like that. You need, I would give, one thing I'd give is a hat. And I'm like, what the hell? I was like, wait, what? I was like, what is this all about? I'm like, what has she got her going? What has she got her doing? So Hannah ended up taking the hat her mom had left, and ended up looking at it, and it was basically a note saying like, I love you, you are my whole world. Am I paranoid? It looked like there was a micro SD card, or like a super small micro SD card on the back of that note. It looked like something that was kind of like a little gold shiny, but maybe that was just my imagination or something like that. Because it's like, you would just leave her that note like that. It makes me, it's like, no, there has to be more to it than that. It's kind of interesting, too, that Erica would know that Hannah would have picked it up, too. Because the moment she was saying all that, I was like, right, they never picked up your hat from last episode, did they? I mean, why would they? They probably just thought it was kind of part of your disguise and stuff like that. The way you kind of toss it off, it just made it seem like, oh, that was you kind of revealing yourself to your daughter. But it's like, no, there was a lot more to that. I mean, to be fair, we don't know what Erica trained Hannah in the regards of like letting her, like, obviously she probably didn't teach her everything, but like they were kind of best friends and stuff like that. So there's probably certain things like Erica, like there's a bond that they have where it's like Erica's kind of like this and that kind of, because you even start kind of winking a little bit, kind of be like, focusing on the hat and stuff like that. I don't know. It's definitely going to be interesting to see what that ends up being, because I feel like that's just one step into something much further. But I guess it's also just supposed to be reassurance to Hannah that like there's something else, got to be something else there, but also reassurance of like, I love you no matter what happens, no matter how you feel about me, I will always love you type of thing. And that's, once again, it's got to be a heavy burden, because it's like you did it for your daughter and your daughter hates you for it because she doesn't know why you did it, you know. So once again, it's like, you know, the hardest thing is living for your kids and carrying that burden for them, especially in her case, you know. So there's also the sad thing about Will's situation in the regards of Lane. There's that whole shoe situation. I figured like the moment they made a point to focus on that, she was like, oh, I'll pick them out later. Let it all be kind of a reminder. Oh, like I say that because I mean it every day, and you know, I'll leave them there so you have something to remember me by. And it's like when we go back there, like those shoes are still there because she never came home to pick them up, and it was like be too hard to, I guess, you know, do it, because it just be kind of fully, you know, accepting she's going. At least this way, there's at least a part of her always with you in that regard. So I'm very fascinated to kind of continue down the route with the show, because it's so interesting. Like I said, it seems like it's almost interesting because it's almost not like a crime of the week episode, even though it technically is. But the fact is, it's like, because it's all leading up to this bigger puzzle that's constantly growing, and like I feel like little by little we're kind of seeing Erica herself kind of put things together as it's, you know, as things develop. And I'm curious to see what ends up going down in the next episode and where this all kind of leads us next. But really, that's all I want to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.